I get over my nerves. Yeah, so I'm Flora. My business is now a mix of knitwear and mending. I started the business in 2016, purely as knitwear, and I still continue the knitwear. It's generally accessories. It's scarves, hats, mitts that I make in my home studio here in Galashiels. As you can see from this picture, I have an old industrial knitting machine as well as a domestic, and I prioritize using natural fibers, mostly lamb's wool, and some silk. And occasionally I now bring in some cashmere because I'm buying end cones from the spinners I use. So I have the knitwear, which I'm prioritizing. Decided to keep that being handmade by me in the studio so that it's sort of traceable and people can know exactly where it comes from. It's largely colours inspired by the Scottish landscape. And really my business was knitwear for the first 3 years. And I was starting to gain an international audience for that, which I still have to some extent, but Brexit has killed some of that. I had some good customers in Denmark and the rest of the EU, which it's now no longer really viable for them to buy my knitted products. But in 2019, I started introducing visible mending to my business. Yeah, I started repairing my own clothes. I started posting pictures of them online on my Instagram account. I started getting requests for commissions, and then that turned into, I became aware that really what people wanted was instructions for how to do it themselves. So I now have 2 Instagram accounts. So this is the mending account. And I launched, I think just before COVID lockdown happened, I launched digital guides sharing my mending skills. And that really took off. And because the products were digital, that really opened up my audience. I had been doing workshops locally, but suddenly with digital workshops, I could have customers all over the world. So that's the mending. And then I was approached by a few publishers to create a book, but decided I would rather publish it myself and be in full control of the content and the aesthetic and price, quality, where it was made. Having things made as locally as possible is always important to me in my business. I also don't want to support companies like Amazon. I don't feel like they align with my business ethics. So by self-publishing, I have control not to sell through routes like Amazon as well. So in 2021, I worked on the book with a wonderful book designer and photographer and created Visible Creative Mending, which I sell worldwide, and I dispatch myself out of some sort of masochism, I think. Not selling through Amazon, but I've now sold just over 6,000 copies in about 1.5 years worldwide, and this is the only product that I wholesale as well. So I wholesale the book as well as selling direct to customers. And I have stockists in the US, Canada, where is it? Netherlands, Germany, Ireland, Australia, and Switzerland, I think. So that's the book. And I've sold to some really strange occasional countries like Brazil and Chile, which are ones that I don't normally sell to for anything. So that's the book. And I also do workshops online now. So I do workshops via Zoom. And again, being able to do them online opens my audience up to an international audience. So I think probably at least a third or maybe a half of the people who do my online workshops are based in the US. And then I get people in the EU. Last week I had somebody in South Korea who'd stayed up till 11 p.m. to take part. Sometimes people in Australia. It sort of is largely dependent on time zones. But again, I have this worldwide audience for doing something online. So I think that's me. Thank you very much.